This ain't a speech, it's a firestorm, a rebellion, a mirror held up to your scars. You've been quiet too long, smiling too politely, bleeding behind that damn grin. Haha, funny, right? How they thought pain would break you, how they assumed you'd stay small after crawling through hell. No, no. Not you, not now, because you didn't survive nights that felt like death just to be average in daylight. You didn't choke on loneliness, swallow betrayal, and rebuild from ashes just to blend in. You're not built for average. You erased average. The day pain kissed your spine and you didn't flinch. They don't get it. They never will. They didn't see you crying in silence, but still S-howing up with steady hands. They didn't see how you stitched yourself back together with no one watching. They think you're cold now? You're focused. They say you changed? No, you arrived. This video right here is your reflection. Your fire, your freaking roar. Survived too much to be average. The world's gonna see what silence created. Yeah. Let's begin, shall we? You didn't have the luxury of comfort. You didn't grow under sunshine. You grew in the darkness. When the world turned its back on you, when the voices around you disappeared, when the only sound you heard was your own breathing, fighting to keep going, you still moved. Not because you weren't tired, not because it was easy, but because something deep inside you refused to quit. That something, that's your core. That's your true self. A force that pain couldn't kill and time couldn't erase. There are people walking this earth right now who carry an entire universe of pain inside them, and you are one of them. But that doesn't make you weak. It makes you invincible, because if you're still standing after everything you've faced, it means something unbreakable lives inside you. You didn't choose this path. Life threw storms at you without warning, without mercy, without pause. And yet, here you are, not as a victim, but as a survivor, sculpted by fire. You didn't just survive pain. You became something through it. You learned how to breathe underwater. You trained your heart to beat even while breaking. You taught your eyes to search for light in pitch black. That's not ordinary. That's not something average people can do. That's power born from pressure. That's beauty forged in the fire of suffering. And now, here's the truth they'll never admit. People like you scare them, because you've felt every kind of pain and you're still moving forward. You're walking proof that wounds don't define destiny, they shape it. You're not fragile, you're fierce. And every piece of you, even the broken ones, carries history, not of defeat, but of resistance. They think you're cold now, but they don't know warmth was stolen from you long ago. They think you're distant, but they don't understand closeness once betrayed you. What they see as hardness is actually armor. What they call attitude is survival. What they mistake as silence is the voice of someone who learned to speak with action, not noise. You're not here to explain your scars. You're here to own them. Because pain didn't break you. It built the weapon they'll never see coming. You're not here to explain your scars. You're here to own them. Because pain didn't break you. It built the weapon they'll never see coming. There's a rare kind of strength that doesn't grow under praise. It grows in silence, and that's where you were planted. There were no crowds, no cheerleaders, no spotlight waiting to warm your skin. It was just you, alone, overlooked, underestimated. But still, you showed up. Still, you gave everything. Not because they asked you to, but because quitting was never an option. Do you remember the moments when you accomplished something small, something that meant the world to you, but no one noticed? No text, no phone call, no "I'm proud of you." You waited for someone to clap, someone to validate you, but no hands came together, no eyes sparkled with joy for you. And in that hollow, painful space of silence, you clapped for yourself, quietly, with trembling hands. But you clapped anyway. And that right there, that's where legends are born. You became your own motivation. You became your own source of hope. You became the one who whispered, "Keep going," when everyone else went quiet. And that takes nerve, that takes fire, because anyone can keep pushing when the world is watching. But it takes something different to grind in the shadows, to fight battles in silence, to create greatness with no one applauding. They didn't see you. But that's okay. You weren't doing it for them. You performed in the dark so you could shine on your own terms. And now, when they finally see the results, they won't understand what it cost. They'll say you're lucky. They'll say you changed. They'll pretend they always believed in you, but they weren't there. They didn't see the nights you sat with your own doubts. They didn't see the fear crawling in your chest, or the loneliness echoing in your bones. But you still got up again and again. That's not average. That's unshakable. You became the kind of person who doesn't wait for permission. You don't need a spotlight to shine. You don't beg for recognition. You simply build, brick by brick, layer by layer, even when it hurts, even when it's quiet, because deep down you know your worth isn't measured by their noise. It's measured by your consistency when no one's watching. They'll never understand the kind of pressure it takes to perform with a heart full of pain. They don't know what it means to create magic while carrying wounds, but that's your truth. You've mastered the art of showing up without being asked, of believing when no one's looking, of believing when everyone else doubts. So let them ignore you. Let them overlook you. You don't need applause to be great. You just need a reason. And you've already got one. You've survived too much to be average now. They thought they were putting you out. Every betrayal, every silence, every dismissal, it wasn't just meant to hurt you. It was meant to end you. People didn't just walk away, they hoped you would collapse after they left. They didn't just doubt you, they wanted you to doubt yourself too. But what they didn't know was you are not powered by praise, you are powered by pain. And pain, when refined, becomes fire. You felt it before. That burn in your chest, not from anger, not from hate, but from something deeper, something primal. The kind of flame that can't be seen, only felt. That's the fire they tried to kill. They thought if they ignored you, it would fade. If they mocked you, it would shrink. If they threw enough dirt on your name, it would smother whatever greatness lived inside you. But it didn't. Instead, it grew quietly. You didn't shout. You didn't scream. You didn't explain yourself. You just let the fire grow. While they laughed, you learned. While they doubted, you developed. While they left, you leveled up. Because your fire wasn't built on the outside. It wasn't made for show. It was born in your darkest moments, the ones they'll never understand. They thought breaking your heart would break your purpose. But heartbreak only sharpened your vision. They thought isolating you would weaken your voice, but the silence only made your inner voice louder. They thought loss would make you empty, but it only made you hungry. Hungry for more. Hungry for everything they said you'd never be. You've become something else now, not louder but clearer, not angrier but colder, not vengeful but dangerous. Because you know what you're carrying, you've seen how far you've come, and nothing, they say, can stop what you've already ignited. You walk differently now, not because you're proud, but because you carry weight, a weight they can't see, a past they couldn't live through, a truth they'll never speak. You don't talk much about it, but it's there, in your eyes, in your choices, in the way you move with purpose, while others move with noise. You're not looking for revenge, you're not looking for attention, you're simply focused. Focused on building what they said you couldn't. Focused on rising where they expected you to fall. You're still burning, and that terrifies them. Because no matter what they did, no matter how much they tried to bury you, shame you, silence you, the fire refused to die. The flame flickered, yes, it dimmed at times, but it never went out, and now it's spreading. You've turned into the very thing they feared, a survivor who burns brighter with every storm. There comes a point where you stop running for others, stop proving, stop begging, stop hoping someone will understand your journey, and you finally whisper to yourself, I owe this to me, not to the world, not to the past, not to the pain, but to the person who never gave up when everything was crumbling. You've carried too much to quit now. This isn't about proving people wrong anymore. It's about keeping a promise to yourself, the promise you made when you were on the floor, fists clenched, eyes burning, telling yourself, if I survive this, I will never go back. So now, keep going. Huh? You owe this to the one person who stayed through it all, yourself. You stayed when the lights went out, when the world turned gray, when your name was buried under lies, when your worth was questioned, when your efforts were mocked. You stayed, you fought. And that's what makes you unstoppable now. You don't need permission to evolve. You don't need approval to dream bigger. And you don't need validation to rise. There will be days where doubt creeps in, where the weight feels unbearable, where the future looks blurry. But remind yourself, you didn't climb out of hell just to stand still. You made it through sleepless nights and silent breakdowns, and now you're worried about opinions, about setbacks, about temporary pain? No, you didn't get here to retreat. You came to transforward. Is you telling the universe, I am still here and I'm not done yet. You've already survived the storm. Now, it's time to become the storm. Because somewhere along the way, you stopped just surviving and started building mindset, building courage, building power. And every brick was soaked in pain, sealed with sacrifice, and raised by sheer force of will. So when you doubt your next move, remember, you owe it to every version of yourself who fought to bring you here. You didn't come this far to pause. You came to finish what pain started. And this time, you're not doing it for survival. You're doing it because you deserve to thrive. So now you know. You didn't just make it through the fire. You became the damn flame. You're not here to explain yourself anymore. You're not here to apologize for your scars. You're not soft or sharpened, not average, awakened. Let them talk, let them guess, let them stare. You survived the war they never saw. And now, you're dangerous. This world has no idea what's coming. No more shrinking. No more silence. No more pretending you're like them. You're not. You survived too much to be anything less than legendary. If this hit your soul, don't just scroll. Like, comment, and subscribe to Twist Mind where the real ones come to remember who they are. This wasn't just a video. This was your reminder. Now, go. Burn. Shake the world.